morning everyone. Today we are going to see Operating System Unit 4, Session 8. In the previous session we have studied about segmentation, address translation and segmentation with paging. In today's session we'll study about virtual memory. So virtual memory is needed when a large process comes for execution and there is less memory available and that process does not fit in the main memory because the less memory is available. So to execute the processes has to be brought to the main memory and the process has to fit inside the main memory. Now as there is a less memory in the main memory, so how this process execution will be done? This will be done with the help of the virtual memory technique. So when the larger process comes for execution, even such processes will be executed even if there is a less memory available in the main memory. So in this virtual memory what happens? As we know that the data in the secondary will be stored in a form of pages. So in this case the pages which has to be executed, only that pages will be brought in the main memory and remaining pages of that process will be still stored in the secondary disk only. So the pages which are needed and has to be executed, only those pages will be brought in the main memory and remaining pages will be available in the secondary disk only. So after executing these pages will release the memory from the main memory. Then after releasing the memory, then the remaining pages will be brought up from secondary memory to main memory. So this is how the execution happens using this virtual memory. So in a computer system, programmers often realize that some of their large programs cannot fit in main memory for execution. So the solution is to use virtual memory, which allocates portions of memory to users as necessary for the efficient running of their programs. So virtual memory allows execution of partially loaded processes. That means the pages which has to be executed, only those pages will be loaded in the main memory and the remaining pages will be still stored in the secondary memory, and this we call it as only partially loaded processes, that is pages will be brought up in the main memory. The processes only executable part will be in main memory and remaining part will be in the secondary memory. When needed, other parts of that process will be brought up into main memory. So due to this, memory will be free. So when that pages finishes its execution, then those will be sent to the secondary disk and again the remaining pages will be brought up in the main memory for execution. So virtual memory is implemented by demand paging. So this is the example of virtual memory. Now suppose the process size is 40 KB and in the secondary disk there is a 100 KB available. From 100 KB that process takes 40 KB and there it is storing. Now this process has to be brought up to the main memory for execution. Now in the main memory only 10 KB is available. Now only 10 KB is left and the process size is 40 KB. Then how this will get executed? So here from this process only it will be divided into pages and only 10 KB that process data will be stored. So that process will occupy only 10 KB and it will execute. After executing it will release the memory and then the remaining 10 KB will be brought up to the main memory. Then it will again execute 10 KB and it will release the memory and then remaining other 10 KB will be brought up to the main memory. So after execution of that it will again release the memory, then again remaining 10 KB will be brought up to the main memory. So like this way, by dividing the memory into 10 KB the process will be executed. So the user will assume that there is a 40 KB available in the main memory and the full process has executed, but actually there is only 10 KB available, and within that 10 KB that process has executed. So it just creates the illusion to the user that there is a more main memory available in the main memory. So it just creates the illusion to the user, but actually it is not available. So this is what virtual memory. So this is the diagram. So this is the process data, and the process data is divided into the pages, page 1, page 2 or page 3, like this way, page 4, and some of the pages which are needed, only those are placed inside the main memory. You can see this page is stored inside the main memory, even this, and the pages which are not needed are stored in the disk. You can see here, even this is stored in the disk, and when they are needed, then those will be sent to the physical memory. This is another diagram. You can see this is the process which has to be executed. Now how much memory is available in the physical? Only that much pages will be stored in the physical memory. See, only page A, B and C are stored in the physical memory. Only that much memory is available, and remaining pages which are not needed for time being is still available in the secondary memory. So when these pages are needed, then these pages will be brought up to the physical memory. Means these pages will finish its execution and it will release the memory. And when it releases the memory, the space become available for other pages. Now other pages can be sent to the physical memory. And for time being, we call it as virtual address. So this is a virtual address, means still the physical address is not generated. So as I told, the virtual memory is implemented with a technique called demand paging. See, by the name only you will understand demand paging means whichever the user request page, whichever page request has come, only that page has to be brought up from secondary memory to main memory. Only that page will be placed in the main memory. So like this way, it utilizes the proper use of the memory. Memory utilization will be proper, and it is implemented with the virtual memory. So actually, if there is a less memory available, then in less memory available, and when the process comes, when the larger process comes for execution, then in such cases, then whichever page is demanded, only that page will be brought up in the main memory. So bring a page into memory only when it is needed. So this gives less input output needed, less memory needed, and even the response will be faster and more users can execute the processes. Page is needed. That means reference to it. Whenever the page is needed, reference to it from the physical memory. That page should be available in the physical memory. If there is an invalid reference, then that page is not available in the physical memory. So not in memory, if it is the pages, if the requested page is not in the memory, then the operating system brings that page into the memory. That is a demand paging. So demand paging system is quite similar to a paging system with swapping, where processes reside in secondary memory and pages are loaded only on demand, not in advance. So a context switch occurs. The operating system does not copy any of the old program pages out to the disk or any of the new program pages into the main memory. Instead, it just begins executing the new program after loading the first pages and fetches that program pages as their reference. So it will not load full process pages in the main memory, only which are needed, only those will be loaded. And this all information will be stored in the page table. So from the page table, you'll understand which pages are loaded in the main memory, and there is also a protection bit is used, that is valid bit and invalid bit, to reference it. And in this demand paging, swapping technique is used. So you can see here, this process to these pages are swapped out and these pages are swapped in. So these pages are needed, so those are swapped in, and which pages are not needed, those are swapped out. So while executing a program, if the program reference is a page which is not available in the main memory because it was swapped out a little ago. The processor treats this invalid memory as a page fault, and the others transfers controls from the program to the operating system to demand the page back into the memory. So it is going to use the swapping technique for whichever page it is demanding, that page will be swapped in, and the page which is not used for longer period or older page, such pages will be swapped out. And what is a page fault? So if the requested page, if it is not available in the main memory, then it is a page fault. So then the operating system tries to bring that page from the secondary memory to the main memory. So transfer of a page to memory to contiguous C. This is another diagram, swap out and swap in. So demand paging. So from this page table we'll understand which pages are loaded into the main memory. So this valid bit indicates pages in the memory and I indicates pages not in the main memory. Then whenever there is a I, there is a always page fault. That means if the requested page is not available in the main memory, then it is a page fault. So advantages of this demand paging is large virtual memory and more efficient use of memory, and there is no limit on degree of multiprogramming. As you can save the physical memory, even if there is a large process, still you can execute, and more number of processes can be executed. Then that's why more number of processes can be executed. There is no limit on degree of multiprogramming. Disadvantage: the number of tables and the amount of processors overhead for handling. Page interrupts are greater than in case of simple page management techniques. So this means if there are more number of page faults, then the operating system will be busy in handling those page faults. So only that is the disadvantage. So operating systems tries to so that there must be no more page faults, should be minimized. Otherwise the operating system will be busy in handling the page faults and none of the process can be executed. So steps in handling the page fault. So how the operating systems handles this page fault. So whenever the CPU wants to execute an instructions, it generates two parts. One is the page number and the instruction number, and that information will be searched in the page table, exactly where that page is stored, in which frame that page is stored. So if the operating system finds out their invalid bit, then the operating system understands that page is not there in the main memory. So the operating system instructs to search in the secondary memory. So it searches the page in the secondary memory and it loads the page into the free frame. So if there is no free frame available, then it will swap any of the old page or low priority process. Such pages will be swapped out and a new page which is requested will be swapped in here, and the latest entry will be updated in the page table. So wherever in whichever frame that page is stored, that entry will be updated and the operating system restarts the execution once more. So this is how the operating system handles the page fault. So the memory address requested is first checked to make sure it was a valid memory request. If the reference was invalid, the process is terminated. Otherwise, the page must be paged in, must be brought in the physical memory. First of all, a free frame is searched. If there is no free frame, then a disk operation is scheduled to bring the necessary page from the disk. When the input operation is complete, the process page table is updated here with a new frame number. Then the instruction that caused the page fault must be now restarted. Again it will start the re-execution. So to calculate total how much time it takes, whenever if the requested page is not available in the main memory, then how much time the operating system takes to search the page in the main memory, to locate the free frame and restart the instruction. So P indicates a page fault and no page fault, 0 indicates no page fault, 1 indicates there is a page fault. So this time can be calculated as effective access time. So that is 1 minus P into memory access time, page fault time, swap out page time, and swap in and restart. This all time will be considered and it will be calculated and it will give effective access time. So in today's session we have studied about virtual memory, demand paging, and how to handle the page fault. In the next section we'll see some other topic. Thank you.